Have you ever wondered what really happened to Rick Harrison from Pawn Stars? You know, the guy with that calm but confident voice, the one who always seemed to know exactly what an item was worth, even before the experts were called in. For years, he was on our TV screens every week. He was the face of the gold and silver pawn shop, the man making big deals, cracking the occasional joke, and teaching us random bits of history through the stuff people brought into his store. And then, suddenly, it felt like he wasn't around as much. The spotlight dimmed. The chatter faded. And fans started asking the question, what happened to Rick Harrison? Did he quit? Did he retire? Did something go wrong? Well, here's the truth. Rick's story isn't just about reality TV. It's about the rise of a regular guy who built an empire, the struggles that came with it, the pain of losing loved ones, and the tough decisions that come with fame and family. And honestly, the real story behind Rick Harrison is even more fascinating than what we saw on Pawn Stars. Let's rewind a little. Rick Harrison didn't wake up one day and suddenly have cameras following him around. He wasn't handed fame on a silver platter. His life was all about hustle. From a young age, Rick was already grinding. Most teenagers are focused on hanging out with friends, going to parties, or maybe thinking about what college they'll go to. But Rick? He was in the pawn business before he even hit his 20s. Why? Because life pushed him that way. He struggled with epilepsy as a kid, which meant he spent a lot of time at home, and instead of just wasting those hours, he read books. Tons of them. That's actually how he built up his knowledge. He learned about history, antiques, coins, you name it. And that curiosity, that love of learning, became one of his biggest strengths later in life. Fast forward a bit, and Rick and his family opened the gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas. Back then, it wasn't some world-famous tourist destination. It was just a shop trying to make it in a tough city. Las Vegas might look glamorous on the outside, but if you're running a small business there, you're fighting tooth and nail to survive. And that's exactly what Rick did. Then came the big break. The History Channel saw something in that little shop. They saw the characters, Rick, his dad, the old man, his son Corey, and of course, Chum-Li. Together, they had the perfect mix, knowledge, humor, family banter, and a shop filled with unpredictable treasures. And that's how Pawn Stars was born. The show took off like wildfire. People loved it. And honestly, why wouldn't they? It was the perfect mix of reality TV, history lessons, and comedy. One episode you'd learn about a Civil War rifle, the next it would be a rare coin, or maybe a guitar signed by a rock legend. And through it all, Rick was the anchor. Calm, smart, witty, and always ready to make a deal. But here's the part that people don't always see. Fame, as exciting as it looks, comes with its own set of problems. Imagine going from being a local business owner to suddenly being recognized everywhere you go. At first, it feels good. People know your name. They want to take pictures. They ask for autographs. But after a while, it can get overwhelming. No privacy. Constant pressure. And of course, endless filming schedules. Think about it. Running a business is already a full-time job. Now add a TV crew, a production team, and the weight of knowing that millions of people are watching your every move. That's a lot of pressure for anyone, even someone as cool-headed as Rick. And then, life threw a curveball. When Rick's father, the old man, passed away, it wasn't just a personal loss. It was the loss of the backbone of the show. Fans loved the old man's grumpy but lovable personality. He was wise, funny in his own way, and brought balance to the shop. Losing him was heartbreaking not just for the family, but for viewers too. But behind the scenes, the loss hit even harder. Family tensions started to rise. Suddenly there were arguments over inheritance, over ownership of the shop, over money. And if you've ever had family drama, you know how exhausting it can be. Now imagine that drama being tied up with a world-famous business, with cameras watching your every move. That's a storm no one would want to be in. And on top of that, the stress took a toll. Rick faced health concerns, sleepless nights, and the non-stop pressure of being the face of both a business and a TV show. People often think reality stars just show up, smile, and get paid. But the truth is, the responsibility is heavy. You're carrying employees, family, and fans on your shoulders. And that's not easy. So, what did Rick do? He made a choice. Instead of clinging to the spotlight, instead of trying to squeeze every last drop out of fame, he stepped back. He shifted his focus. He went back to what he knew best, running the pawn shop. The cameras were still there sometimes, but they weren't his whole life anymore. And you know what? That was probably the smartest move he could have made. Because let's face it, fame is temporary. TV shows come and go. Ratings rise and fall. But a business? A solid, successful business can last for generations. Rick wasn't chasing 15 minutes of fame. He was building a legacy. And here's something most fans don't realize. A lot of reality TV stars don't actually make most of their money from the shows. The real money comes from the businesses behind the scenes. Rick understood that. For him, the gold and silver pawn shop has always been the real treasure. The show made it famous, sure, but the shop itself, that's where the heart of it is. So today, Rick is still there. He's still making deals, still talking with customers, still keeping the shop alive. He's also involved in charity work and living life on his own terms. He's not chasing Hollywood. He's chasing peace, stability, and the satisfaction of knowing he built something real. And honestly, there's a lesson in that for all of us. First, business isn't just about making money, it's about creating something that lasts. Second, mixing family and fame can be complicated. It sounds fun, but in reality, it can be messy. And third, adaptability is key. Rick didn't cling to fame. He adjusted, he shifted, and he found balance. So now I want to ask you, do you think Rick made the right move by stepping away from the spotlight? Was it smarter to focus on the shop and his legacy rather than TV fame? I'd love to hear your take, so leave a comment below. And hey, if you enjoyed this story, you'll probably love my other breakdown on the untold truth behind Pawn Stars. Make sure you check that out. Before you go, don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a story like this one. Thanks for spending this time with me today. And remember, sometimes the real deal isn't what you see on TV, it's what happens behind the scenes, in the quiet moments, when the cameras aren't rolling.